98 Not Out, sponsored by Shepherd Neame, proud supporters of cricket in Essex.
Not just the former England, Surrey, Kent, Hampshire, Perth Scorchers and Leicestershire player, but now cricket commentator as well, Mr. Michael Carberry. Michael, how are you?
Evening, gents. How are we?
Yeah, we're good. We was enjoying
lovely day for it.
We was enjoying listening to you last night or a couple of nights ago on the One Day International.
Yeah, it was a good game, wasn't it? I think it was much needed in the series. It was getting a bit one-sided, and I think the Irish boys saved their best performance for last, really. But it was. I mean, obviously the result wasn't great for England, but it was great for the Irish boys. They played really well.
That's right. I mean, it was a bit like when we played Scotland a couple of years back, and you see, England putting the big guns out, but then the guys from the smaller nations are stepping up to the plate and providing some entertainment. It's really good to see.
Yeah, for real. I mean, back in the day, a lot of these guys would have been familiar to a lot of us because we would have played them in county cricket, but unfortunately, due to the ruling now, they're classified overseas, so we don't really know a lot of them. It's just really going off a lot of stats and that kind of stuff. None of us have really seen these lads play, but they've got some good youngsters. There's a little lad Camper who impressed me. He sort of made 250s and bowled nicely as well. So they've got plus some old heads, Sterling and Balburney, who played against. Yeah, they've got a good little outfit, I think.
We just had Roland Butcher on, and he was. I asked him about trying to get West Indies cricket going again, and whether getting West Indies players to come and play a county season over here. But he said what you've just mentioned as well, that this whole how difficult it is now for overseas players to come and even play club cricket, which is holding it back, I think.
Yeah, it's sad because I think Roland's time, even way before my time, a lot of the old school West Indian legends that I still in contact with said that coming over here to play in the leagues and play county cricket was the finishing sort of school for them in their careers. So it's sad that you don't really see them as around the leagues or county cricket as much as yesteryear.
And some of those hairstyles as well, Superflyer.
Yeah, man, there's some big afros back then, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not one to talk about hairstyles at the moment, but
I bet you had your moment.
Yeah, man, it was all good to about age 24, and then had to had to take the big razor to it, man. Had to let go.
Right then, let me take you back in the day.
Yes, man.
So back as a young 17-year-old, and breaking into a quite legendary Surrey side with the likes of Stewart, Rambrakash, Thorpe, the Hollyoaks boys, Sackland. Yeah. Oh, let's not talk about it. Let's have a week where we don't talk about it.
we leave him out, man.
We just mentioned the good players on this show.
He's going to be annoyed because we haven't played his track tonight. We play his track every week, and he says, and he plays it in the skybox as well. He plays us in the skybox, so they all listen.
Nice.
So they're going to be listening tonight, and all they're going to hear is your selection.
It's my man.
So tell us about that Surrey. So what was it like, walking into a dressing room with those boys there?
I think at that time, I'll be honest, it was a bit overwhelming. I mean, you're playing with your, you're now walking in the dressing room with your heroes. You know what I mean? Alex Stewart, Graham Ford. All those guys were boyhood heroes of mine. Butch, being one, he played at the same club as me, and it was a bit kind of stepping into a whole new world, really. I mean, I was a very good youth player, had a good youth record. There was a lot of talk about me from probably about 15, 16 that I'd go on to do great things at Surrey and things like that. But I suppose dream became reality almost, and it was this is. It's a different world now. It's you learning a different set of rules. The game, the pace of the game is different, and it was a tough few years. I mean, things were very different back then, where I suppose you earned your respect as a youngster. You were very much seen and not heard. You had to do your chores, and like I said, you had to. Senior players ruled the roost. A bit different to now, but from a learning aspect, it was fantastic because as I say, what a team to learn from. I mean, everyone from 1 to 11 had played international cricket, or were, legends of the county game. So for me, there was always that fountain of knowledge around. And although, certain guys didn't speak to you as much, but I mean, you very much have to go and hunt your information.
Yeah.
Just being around them, just watching how they prepare. Someone like Alex Stewart was the consummate professional. He's very neat and tidy, and Graham Ford was very meticulous in the way he went about his work and his practice. He wanted everything right to the absolute nth degree. So I think seeing that as a youngster, having the opportunity to work with Thorpe for a few weeks over pre-seasons went massive lengths to my development, I think, and obviously I ended up breaking in the side only temporarily, but it was great just to be able to feed off those kind of guys, really.
I guess, as a youngster starting off and eventually becoming a test opening batsman, to learn from the early days from players like Thorpe and Stewie, that's a good groundwork to have in your development. Yeah,
100%. I mean, that's almost better than any net session, really, isn't it? Back then the feeling was you learned the game at the bar. You learned by talking and asking questions, and I think teams back then were a lot more sociable. So we were playing like Worcester. I remember getting caught in a conversation. I was a sort of young pup in between Mark Ramprakash and Graham Hick. You just can't buy that kind of experience and knowledge. And I'm just sitting. I didn't say very much, but just being there amongst the two guys, just listening to their thoughts on the wicket and how it played and how they're looking to play and things like that. And it was fascinating for me. I was, and still am a bit of a cricket tragic. So I was always one the geeky kid who'd be shadow batting in the mirror, trying new techniques and that kind of stuff. And you say you can't buy that. There's certain things you can learn in the nets, but you can't beat listening to the good old pros of yesteryear, how they went about their work and just watching them.
How hard was it to leave Surrey and then to go on to Kent? Because obviously it's an experienced dressing room full of internationals, to then go to a county where maybe not recognised as much as full of internationals.
Yeah, it was a tough decision because obviously I'm a Surrey boy through and through. Played all my cricket there, grew up in Croydon, so very much.
Are you a Palace fan?
Yeah. I'm not, man. I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm an Arsenal fan. We finally got some silverware. Just thought I throw that in there. Finally. I've been getting enough stick all year, man. So finally we got something in the trophy cabinet. So it was a really tough decision, but it was a necessary decision, if that makes sense, because look, reality was, although my standards were very high at the second team, I mean, we just had a gluttony of riches at the club at that time, and I'm talking about guys even in the second team, the likes of Scott Newmans and Gareth Batty and Gary Butcher, and we had Ricky Clark, so we had a lot of talented guys. And look, I was making. I mean, at one stage we had 4 openers at the club: myself, Scott Newman, Mark Butcher, Ian Ward. So you can see where I'm going with this. It was a decision that I just thought, look, I'm obviously the 4th choice. Yeah. So look, do I stay here, run the risk of getting a bit stale just from playing too much second team cricket and not really expanding my wings, or for its time, do I take that brave decision, say goodbye to Surrey and move on and try and make a career somewhere else? And I sat down with my manager, who's still my manager now, and look, we just had to make that decision. As I say, for its time, it wasn't a common thing to do, to move counties. Generally you stayed at the one county, you stayed there your whole career. But I thought, look, I've got to go where I feel I'm going to get opportunity. So hence the move to Kent.
Well, it was the right decision, wasn't it? You got your first championship ton over there, and it sort of set off a chain of events of you scoring runs through county cricket, and then you get into the England team, and then you're part of that notorious 2013-2014 tour down under.
That was a nightmare.
tell us about that, because I mean there are so many, and I think there will still be books to come out about that tour and stuff that went on.
Yeah.
But what was it like?
The 2013 Ashes. Well, it was a tour of two halves. I mean, the first half, I would say, first of all, when I got the call up, I mean, it was a great surprise to me, because I'll be honest with you, at 34, I thought my chance had come and gone. I'd made my Test debut 4 years before, and I was always waiting behind Strauss and Cook, who obviously were two great players, great openers. So the first part of the tour, I was obviously delighted, got called up for Test cricket, and again, still didn't think I'd play, because Joe Root was the opener at the time. We got out there, and we were based in Perth for a couple of weeks, and it was great fun. I think that the team, the older guys, tried to make more effort with us newer tourists. We did more as a squad, and then it was really that first Test match where it all just unravelled. Obviously started with the sort of infamous Jonathan Trott departure, where he got roughed up a little bit and never really found his mojo. Mitchell Johnson sort of ran through us in that Test match, and it just all went south after that. The team just fragmented. There was internal problems between certain players and Andy Flower. There was people having really struggling, I guess, with the tour, their own form, things like that. We had a couple of retirements. It was
all going on, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was all going off, and I suppose for me that it kind of watered down what was one of the greatest challenges in my career, and I still look back.
You did all right.
I did all right. I wouldn't say I set the world alight, but I mean, I'm pretty honest, and it was tough going out there. I mean, you're facing Mitch, new ball, fresh as a daisy every time, and we're always 500 and something behind, or trying to set a total.
Did you have a strategy for facing him in those conditions?
Yeah. I did a lot of work before the tour, and I think that's probably why I had the decent run out against him. Without smashing him around. I mean, I gave myself a chance to at least, see off his early threat, which was obviously the new ball. So I did a lot of close range stuff in the nets at Hampshire with my coaches there. I took a lot of blows in the nets prior to the tour. Get hit in the ribs, get hit in the neck, get hit in the mouth. You get sconed on the helmet, because you got to feel the weight of the punch, and I just wanted to go in there. That's what I say. It was good in a way that going in as an experienced first-class cricketer, you know what you need to do. So, I felt I want to give myself the best chance by going there prepared. So I know that when I walk out there at the Gabba, if I get my chance, I'm prepared. I'm not sort of now trying to scramble around for an idea, if that makes sense. It was, to throw another thing in it. I mean, I was sort of puzzled by some of our team tactics. If I'd like, Andy Flower wanted us to kind of play a very attritional style of cricket, and I'm naturally an attacking player, and I suppose sometimes I did find myself getting caught a little bit between a rock and a hard place, in terms of, I'm leaving balls that normally I would throw the kitchen sink, the washing machine, the dryer, everything at it. And, if you nick off, I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? I mean, when bowling's that good, but, not to take away, I think the Australians just were outstanding.
Yeah, it was a good team.
I think you've got to give credit where it's due. They were outstanding. Just every bowler that came on just knew what they had to do. They just kept the pressure on. And you were looking for opportunities to score. There just weren't any.
Now,
there just weren't any. Yeah,
that's enough to deal with as a cricketer. But off the field, I mean, there was a lot going on. You've faced for a long time serious health battles. You've had blood clots how can I say blood clot without wanting it to say in a Jamaican accent?
You know what I mean?
You've had blood clots on your lungs. But why am I laughing? This is serious. Which involved going on blood thinners, and that was why you had the specially designed helmet. And then in 2016, a cancerous tumour was found in your stomach. I mean, wow. You know,
it's a lot.
It is a lot for a young man.
Cricket. Yeah, sadly, Nicky wants to slip doesn't seem the biggest thing in the world, right? So,
but you dealt with it.
Yeah, again, you know what? That you know, I say this to young girls and boys that I coach now, that you know, the key to success really is how you come back from adversity. You know, it's not necessarily averages, runs, wickets, you know, that kind of stuff. How much you make at the IPL. It's how you come back from adversity, because adversity is real life. You know, when you look at life as a whole, how many happy moments do you have in your life? Very few.
This is one.
Yeah, you know, like you know, you have
talking to your heroes.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you have very, very few opportunities where you can say, look, you know, today was a good day for me. You know, most of the time it's dealing with real life events, sickness, health problems, death, loss, divorce. You know, these things, they happen. So, yeah, when I got sick the first time, I mean, it was straight after my Test debut. So, you know, undoubtedly it changed life around a lot. You know, I had to go on sort of lifetime medication, which is obviously dangerous for our sport, because, you know, if you get hit by a ball, you know, it's been some serious trouble. So again, you kind of had to make that brave decision of what do I do here, because when you look around, there was no other cricketer who had the same problem or condition as me. So you know, some people were kind enough to come on board and help me out. You know, the helmet manufacturers, people who made my inner gear, like my inner pads and things like that, you know, just to reinforce them a little bit. And it was really down to a case of, look, you know, God gave me some really good reflexes. I've never been a batsman who played in fear of being hit by the ball. You know, I always tried to watch the ball.
Yeah.
I was a good backdoor player, so that I guess that helped. And I feel if I felt, you know, someone that had a fear of the ball, then I probably should have just called it a day then.
Yeah.
But I figured, look, let's give it a try. And, you know, I ended up getting, you know, 8 more years out of my career. You know, further the story on to 2016 when I was diagnosed with cancer. I mean, that was a big blow, I'll be honest.
Was it 8 operations or 8 incisions they had to make?
Yeah. It was a big operation, and probably on top of the other operations I've had, you know, for various injuries and stuff. I think it was probably one too many. You know, the body, it's a lot of scar tissue, as you can imagine, and you know, batting involves a lot of twisting motions. In particular, you know, you know, I love my fielding as well, and I found, you know, like I didn't have that range of movement in my fielding like I once used to. And I suppose also getting my body back to how it looked as a 20-year-old. You know,
don't we all?
Was harder work. You know, although you're doing the running, you're doing the dieting, you know, all these things. I mean, you know, your stomach's been cut up a lot, so it's always going to take, you know, it's always going to take time. But I suppose in the back of your head as well, you know, you do think sometimes, you know, have they got all of it? You know, did they miss anything? Am I going to get it again? You know, these things.
How are things now?
Yeah, praise God, they're good. You know,
yeah.
You know, I'm healthy. You know, I've been trying to obviously try and keep the healthy lifestyle going, even though I finished playing.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't drink or smoke or anything like that. So, you know, trying to eat healthy, I try and exercise even through the lockdown, try and keep in some sort of shape.
And one of the other positives that came out of all of this was you picked up a pencil and started to draw again. Yeah. I've seen some of the stuff you've done now. I mean, it's it's good.
It was good. Yeah, I mean, I suppose the positives were that it brought me back to a childhood passion. So I dabbled with a few of the arts in the past, like music. I was a nightclub DJ for a couple of years.
All right.
When I was a young kid.
That's where all these tunes come from then on your selection.
Man. Used to go down Brixton and get my records. Well, now we're going back. Now we're talking records.
I remember, vinyl, 7-inch dub plates and things like that.
7-inch dub plates. yeah. So I used to go down there, Red Records and Mr. Boogie, who used to DJ for Fifth Avenue.
Dub Vendor, was that one in Brixton?
Dub Vendor, go down Dub Vendor, get my records. And go out and play. Me and my boys used to go and play around some of the clubs around. We used to do London circuit for a bit.
Yeah.
And then it got harder once I moved to Kent, because I suppose I was focusing more on my cricket then. And but yeah, the art came up. Just going through rehabilitation from cancer. Really, I just didn't want to sit there chewing on, what's happened to me. And because when you get sick as a sportsman or sportswoman, it's a weird life, because you've got to think about your fans before yourself. So you've got to think about, you barely have time to process the news yourself. You know what I mean? You've got to start thinking about, right, what am I going to put out there, so that people know what's going on, or why I'm not playing, or do you know what I mean? Like, if that happens to a normal man, a woman in the street, I mean, they just go in, they have their operation, praise God, they make it. And they come back to work in a few months' time. But being in the public eye is different. You got to think about all these things, and keep journalists at bay when you're going through all of this, because everyone wants their sort of pound of flesh to find out what's going on and when you're going to be back, and how are you going to be back? All these things. So, but it was a tough time, mainly for my mum. Because she'd been through it with me with the lungs, and now to go through this, I mean, that was really the tough bit to deal with personally, because it was keeping her going and her keeping me going. So but yeah, the art came about it was I was just bored at home, and I thought, right, I need something to do just to take my mind off things, and I just had a pencil around. And it came from childhood. I didn't have a lot of toys as a kid, so we weren't flush with money, so there was always pen and pencil around. So I started sketching, and I didn't realise that on YouTube that you can start teaching yourself to kind of draw in a sort of professional manner. So I started seeing this guy, Kelvin Akafor, who's the world's best pencil artist. He's born-bred artist here in Britain, and of Nigerian descent. I mean, his work is like phenomenal. So he's very realistic in what he does. So I like that, and I love pencil art as well. So I just started following the videos and started to draw, and put them out on social media, and obviously things blew up from there. People were like, "Wow, I didn't know you could draw like this," and, things like that. And then I was very lucky last year to meet Kelvin face to face. So I went to one of his. So the only drawing lesson I've had was from him. So and now we've become very good friends, and we talk to each other every now and again, and I follow him still, and so I get to very lucky in my life that I get to meet all these great people across both careers, be it my cricket or artwork, and you can sort of call these people friends. You can sort of lean on them for advice and watch what they do at close quarters. So yeah, it's just nice. It's therapeutic. It takes off a lot of stress and with other things that are going on in your life, at the time. And actually, when I did come back to play, I found that it kind of took the pressure off my batting, because you realise that, look, it's going to take me some time to get back into full flow. So to have an opportunity to go and do something else whilst the game's going on was great.
Now, we've got to promote your website for it, which is michaelcarberryart.com, isn't it?
That's right, very simple.
And you do have some prints and that available on the website, and people can commission you for work as well, can't they?
Yeah, they can.
As I've seen you've done.
I've got one going at the moment. I've got a little baby girl to do for a client. Yeah, so people are more than welcome if they want their aunt, their mum, their dad, brother, sister.
Have you come across any other good artists in the last day or two?
Hey?
Have you come across any other good artists in the last day or two recently that are quite
good artists?
Yeah, that you might have seen on WhatsApp or anything?
I've seen one. It's quite useful. Yeah, he did a useful ballpoint. It looked like a ballpoint pen.
Rotary pen.
Yeah.
Is he trying
He looked quite decent. He's got some talent there.
Oh dear, I need to stay at this.
How to remain nameless.
And Michael, something else we've got to talk about, and you've been really talking well on this subject, is the lack of black players in county cricket. We've talked on the show about it. How are we going to improve this? We've talked about, at the moment, cricket seems to have a problem that it's not just black kids that's not coming through, it's no inner city kids at all, because there's no inner city facilities. But, we've got to do something, haven't we, to help everybody, not just the black kids.
Absolutely, man. I mean, how long you got on this show?
Go for it.
34 minutes, we're good.
Is it? All right. Look, let me firstly say, guys, I mean, I think across the board, I think it's sad that in the year 2020 we're still talking about this, right? I mean, I'll say that as my opening line. I think I'm the eternal optimist. I would like to sit here and say, look, things have moved or improved. I just can't categorically say it, and in particular in cricket, it has just gone nowhere for me, right? And when I got asked to do that podcast, I thought to myself, look, and this is not me, having a pop at anyone. Look, everyone answers the questions in their own way, but I felt that, look, we've been around this before, and what you tend to happen is that they get certain black people on these shows, podcasts or whatever, to talk about these issues, because they know that they're going to kind of give them cliche answers. And for me, I thought to myself, look, I need to tell it as it is, through the eyes of someone who's lived it, breathed it, had to overcome it to get where I got to in this life now. And I just, I didn't realise what impact my words would have. I suddenly had a massive outpour from, I think it was the Ugandan women's football team sent me a very nice email to say, look, thank you for speaking out, because we experienced it and this and this. And I had South African cricketers who've reached out and said, mate, thank you for speaking out. I've had ex-county pros. I've had ex-colleagues, it's touched everybody, and I didn't realise, I just spoke from the heart, and it, as I say, through the eyes of what I went through when I first walked in a dressing room. You get the constant remarks, you get the, always having to fight just to get equality, just to get the same opportunities. Did
I read somewhere that when you went to Kent, you got pulled over by the old Bill 7 times in 2 weeks in your car?
Yeah, man. It was bad. It was bad. I've had stones thrown at me when I was playing basketball. I got pulled over by the police. I took a girl out on a date, and we were having a nice time, and dropped her home, and they were tapping on the window saying, "Oh, you're right, love. You're right in there. You're right in there." And it was her who basically told them, well, I won't say it on the live show, but basically to do one. So these are the things that.
But what can be done? Because we had this with Raheem Sterling recently, and we've had it time and time again. And you get all these slogans and gestures and T-shirts and banners. But I think you're right. I don't think that really does anything. And I think what we need now, and tell me what you think. But my view is that we need action. We need goals to set. We need, a real course set out that everyone's got to stick to. And change attitudes properly, not just, like you say, saying slogans or.
Look, and again, I mean this respectfully. It's great to see people doing the marches and protests. Trying to show their support in their way. But look, I'm talking to someone that's old enough to remember things like the Brixton riot.
Yeah.
Stephen, I went to school around the corner from where Stephen Lawrence was murdered in Bromley. I myself have been pulled over and by police and had problems bleed. I think what the simple answer is, right, it starts at the top, right? Is this country's been run by certain people the whole time. So, there's no point, throwing money at and creating new departments. Let's call it black inclusion for a moment, right?
Yeah.
Black inclusion. because the same people are running things at the top, right? And I said in my podcast, if people want racism to stop, the only people that can do it, in my opinion, is white privilege, right? Because racism really has basically set the tone for them to benefit from it, right? I mean, so all your big corporations and institutions that are running today were based on racism, right? We're still, they say racism was abolished, for example, but up until 2015, we were still paying the compensation bond to the slave trade owners.
Yeah, not the slaves.
Yeah, so you think to yourself, right, so in my lifetime, I've seen both Labour and Conservative being voted in. So it shows me that even government officials, prime ministers, still agree that black people are the second-class citizens here, right? That we should never have had to pay that, ever. So sports mimics life. So if you're seeing it at the very top, you're going to see, undoubtedly you're going to see it in sport, and in particular cricket, where, let's be honest, it was a middle-class white game, right? You look around, there's no black CEOs, there's no black directors of the boards, there's no black county chairman. If you come down a notch, there's no black head coaches. And I know friends of mine who've done level 3, level 4 coaching badges, so are, more than equipped to do the job, but they just won't get looked at. I think I was the last black captain, and I only lasted 6 games, and I know for a fact that it was taken off me because, well, certainly my colour of my skin didn't help me. So then you look around at the players that are left since I left the game. I mean, there's about 5.
Yeah, we highlighted.
And most of them are born in Barbados.
I think we highlighted there was 9 and only 1 had come through a state school, and of the 9, 4 or 5 were from Barbados and under 19 still.
Yeah, exactly. So the numbers have gone down massively, and that's a variety of reasons. I understand it, I get it. There's more money in football, and cricket's always been football's ugly sister. I understand that, but what I'm posing to the ECB, the hierarchy of the ECB is, okay, but what have you done different to try and outreach to certain communities? They just haven't done anything. It's almost been accepted that, well, they don't want to be part of it, so we just move on.
They seem to do a lot for the Asian community because they know the Asians do want to play cricket, but they seem to think that by putting money towards some of the initiatives to get black people in, it doesn't seem as worthwhile for them because they're not going to see a return on it. Does it kind of feel like that?
I'll be honest with you guys, that's just purely a business transaction.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if you look at the state of cricket now, who runs the game? India.
Yeah.
Right? India have all the finance to run our game as we know it. So remember a few years ago when 2020 cricket was being launched, India took the brainchild, ran with it, and created this Galactico. Right? So now, all the major franchises around the world are generally owned by Indian businessmen, generally across the board, right? And England were the only country, and I know this because at that time I was one of those guys who, like Kevin Peterson, and who was again very vocal about, how we should get involved. We should get involved with India, right? Because it will help our development as one-day players. It will help our white ball skills. ECB didn't wanted nothing to do with it.
That's right.
Right? They wanted to be stubborn. No. So you get a scenario where I might have got offered a chance in the IPL, for example, but be told that, well, you can go for 2 or 3 games, but you have to be back for these token sort of fitness days, or they're getting the counties now to take a massive proportion of your county contract away from you for being away, right? So you've got to weigh up. I was, a young guy in life. I've got a mortgage. I live by myself, so it's not like I've got a missus where I've got a second income. I sort all my bills. So, do you know what I mean? So I've got to work out, right, potentially losing 40, 50k on my contract. just sitting potentially. I might sit there for 7 weeks, not get a game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I was looking at it from an experience point of view. Imagine being part of RCB, for example. You're practicing with Virat Kohli, A.B. de Villiers, Chris Gale, all these guys as a aspiring.
Ravi Bopara.
Right. Yeah. Right. So this is why I feel that there's this massive push now to, to show. Oh, look, we're not racist. Look, we're doing our bit for Asian cricket. But just that word alone, guys, Asian inclusion, the devil's in the details.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't have a white inclusion set of the ECB, do you? No. Do you know what I mean?
I heard something only last weekend. I was watching my son playing, right? He's 16, full of attitude, wants to take on the world, bowl fast, which is good. But I was talking to one of the other parents there, and we were talking about Asian kids in cricket. And I hadn't heard this before, but it was interesting that there are Asian kids being forced by their parents to play cricket because their parents think it's a socially aspirational and acceptable thing to be playing. And these Asian kids don't have any interest, they don't want to play, but the clubs are also welcoming them because they see Asian skin and they think, oh, right, he's going to be good, he's going to be, and the parents are going to be, the parents turn up and they put money into the clubs and whatever else. And it kind of harks back to what you're saying, even at the top level. It's where Asian and Indian cricket is concerned. There's so much of an emphasis on business transactions and money and commercial.
It's money, man. It's money because Indian fans, Asian fans are, quite affluent people. So, it pays to have them on board. I'm not saying they are talented people, but I also know that, that. The problem is, again, even if you look around, when I started, there used to be a lot of Asian guys playing the game. Even the numbers there kind of slipped away a little bit. You don't even see kids now coming through academies anymore now.
No.
You just don't see anyone.
Well, you see these micro leagues as well. You see, particularly across to East London, you see like a Bangladeshi East London League, a Sri Lankan East London League. Yeah. Which, there are real...
The devil's in the detail, D.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why do you think these leagues were formed in the first place?
Oh, yeah.
So this is what I'm posing to the hierarchy now, is that, the devil's in the detail. It's everything that you're seeing now is reflection of what's happened over, my 30 years, probably 50 years, since the game's really been formed, is that it's only viable to a certain type of person. Do you know what I mean? And for a sport that, let's be honest, needs participation.
Yeah.
The question I pose to the hierarchy, Tom Harrison, these kind of people at the top, is what have you done to go into certain communities like Brixton, like Peckham, like Stockwell, like Fulton East, where I grew up.
Yeah.
They're just relying on Surrey to do it, aren't they? They're sort of. I know Ebony Rains from Brent. She's got she was involved in the Ace cricket program.
I was asked to go on it, and I politely declined because, again, I've seen all these things before. Chance to Shine, Urban Kids Cricket, Channel 4 cricket, Lambeth. I've seen it all. Right? It's no diff. The problem is not. Listen, throwing money at another campaign is not the answer. The bigger issue at hand is why the same people who've been allowed things to happen or get this far are still in power. Because if you weed these people out and freshen it up and diversify it and get some new, fresh ideas, people who are more in touch with the modern world, then I think you have an unbelievable chance to start changing things around. Then you get into the realm of, right, how do we the education. I've heard people banging that drum. Oh, we got to educate ourselves, we've got to educate. Right. Again, I ask certain questions, not cliche questions. Right. What education are you talking about? Because it can't be the same education that me, you have gone through, because so much of education's been buried.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we don't want to be pumping this education out to our kids, because nothing will change.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, right, we need to go way back to how it all started. And I mean right back to how it all started. And look, on both white and black side, there'll be some uncomfortable findings for both of us. But it's necessary, because it will build empathy for when things like George Floyd happen again, and they will happen again.
Yeah.
Right? White people will understand why we are so angry. They will understand when certain things are said in an office, for example, or a changing room, and we react. They will understand, because they have better knowledge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They'll have all their facts on the table. If they choose not to act on it, well, then that's them, isn't it? But do you know what I mean? Because you're not born a racist.
No, exactly. You condition.
No one's born a racist. You know what I mean? You're taught racism.
You've only got to go to any park in London and you see kids of all backgrounds. They just play with one another because they're kids.
Exactly.
And they want to play with one another.
100%.
They don't, unless their parents have said something to them or they've been taught different. They don't know. They just, everyone's the same to them. They're a kid. They want to play with them. And
Carbs, I'm just thinking of a slightly different, going on a slight tangent, but staying in sports, where black kids seem to prosper is athletics. Okay, whenever we see the Olympics, whenever we see the World Championships, Diamond League meetings, whatever, representing Great Britain, representing their clubs, running, whatever, and we saw at the last Olympics, in the World Championships, black British kids winning medals and doing well. They seem to prosper there, but I don't know. Help me with this one. Are the hierarchy, is it the same problem where you don't have black athletes going on to coach or manage or becoming part of the athletics setup?
Well, I think there's still issues in athletics. I know friends of mine who again struggle to get jobs after competing, things like that. But on the athletic thing, it's an interesting one, because see, I think that's more genetics, right? That's more generic things.
Yeah.
If you look across the board, you're looking for a sprinter. The black guy has got the perfect genetics for being a sprinter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you're looking for a boxer, again, you've got the perfect genetics. So I think that's possibly one reason why there's more black kids in those sort of sports. Football, you're seeing more of an uptick in young black footballers now coming through. Again, but look at the pace of the Premiership now. It's very fast.
Yeah.
Very fast, very powerful game. So plays beautifully into the hands of black guys, young black athletes. Not to say white guys are not good athletes, but black men are naturally good athletes. Do you know what I mean? Guys are you can't teach someone to run quickly.
Yeah, you have got
do you know what I mean? Like, you just can't teach that stuff. But yeah, you raise a good point. It's when you finish competing, playing, whatever, is right. What you look around, like myself now, I'm retired. What opportunities are there in my sport to then say, right, keep visible within the sport and almost help the next generation, black or white or Asian or whoever, on their journey? There isn't anything.
Does this mean that someone like you, a county needs to come to you, get you on board, get you helping them develop, even the ECB, get you on board, taking what you're saying and get someone like you to help develop this going forward? Is it something you'd be keen on doing as well?
Well, you know what, I'm keen to help, help where I can. I mean, I think it's, still have love for cricket, and I would like, before I leave the planet permanently, that, someone is just going to be valued on how good they are as opposed to the colour of their skin. Do you know what I mean? I want to know that even if it's not on a playing front, that a man or woman will feel comfortable applying for a job at the helm of the ECB if they've got the relevant credentials. Do you know what I mean? That is a realistic possibility. It's what I'm saying in essence, guys, and I had to kind of explain this to the ECB, that look, I'm not plotting a black takeover bid here, right? That's not what I'm about. what I'm fighting for is just something very, very basic. It's equality.
Yeah, level playing
Like,
field.
Yeah.
It's a level playing field, right? You're finding a lot of black community are now going away from things like cricket because, quite frankly, they don't feel they're welcome. That's the biggest issue we face at the moment. And there's nothing in the game at this moment in time that is opening the doors to the black community. Do you know what I'm saying? So, okay, so we're talking about Ebony Rainford Brent's ACA program. And look, I wish her very well on it. But, I've seen these things before. We find a couple of kids at 15, by 19, they're not even playing.
Yeah.
And I've seen that a lot in my career and my involvement in cricket. And I'm one of those people, I feel about layers. Why? Why is this happening? Why?
Yeah.
Look at the coaches. It's all the same kind of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to understand black community. Have they tried to understand black community? No, because what they try to do is put everybody in the same box. You can't do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Black community is very different to the Asian community. Asian community is very different to the white community. White community is very different to the black community.
Yeah.
We're similar on certain things. We're very different on a lot of things. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But difference doesn't mean bad. And this is what you have to kind of change people's mentality who've been running things the whole time. Is that being different doesn't mean bad.
We have to blend the differences to make everybody better, don't we?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you've got to find. I mean, this is why people are paid the big bucks to manage, isn't it?
Yep.
What I don't see here that I see in the Caribbean, particularly in Guyana. I saw this, where my family's from. Guyanese Chinese playing cricket.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that anywhere else in the world ever.
Yeah.
Because you've got so many Chinese over there.
Yeah, I mean, Guyana's very diverse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, my father's Guyanese, so even myself, my family, my grandmother was quarter Indian, quarter Portuguese.
Right.
So I'm very mixed.
Yeah, but you are from Guyana and that part of the world. So many.
Yeah.
But listen, let's end on something upbeat. So tell me, what is giving you hope? What is giving you joy in the near future and in Michael Carberry's world at the moment? What's?
Oh, right. Well, you know what? It's been an interesting sort of 18 months. Obviously, leaving something you love, and it's starting that different, I suppose, real life. They say life begins at 40. I'm 40 next month, so it's been it's a little bit uncertain, I suppose, when you leave the game abruptly, especially, and it's kind of you have to think logically and think to yourself, well, I've still got bills to pay, I still have to find a way of making a bit of money and these kind of things. But I suppose I've been very fortunate in that. I suppose how you live with people within the game and people know and like you, and you've always been respectful to people, that I always believe it pays you back. So we had a great opportunity to do the art exhibitions last year, which went really, really well. I had loads of love and support on social media and people who came along to the shows. I went and did my diploma in financial trading, so I'm a trader.
Oh, right, okay.
So I take on the markets every morning. Hence why I'm using more and more hair every day. But,
well, that's my day job as well. So
Don't take any tips off Darren, mate. I tell you, go skinny in no time.
I've just tried to, to answer your question, I've just tried to really just immerse myself in things that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Rather than looking at just making money. I think you will make money from things you are interested in, because you will put your heart and soul into it. So, obviously this year has been a bit of a bit of a weird year for everybody, and a real test of, I suppose, everyone's mental well-being, as at certain times as well. But I looked at it to try and use the time wisely and really delve into my trading. It was the only thing I could really do. I couldn't get out and coach for a bit. The art kind of slowed down. It just gave me the opportunity to kind of get my business up and running. And And just, I think it's using time that we wouldn't always have, to tap into ourselves and, understand ourselves. So I tried to do that, and therefore I didn't find it as bad as some people did.
No, I think you explore things about yourself, don't you? If you've got the right mindset.
Yeah, it's all mindset. Yeah. It's all mindset. It is all mindset. You've got to, I think like I said, these are very, extraordinary situation we find ourselves in. But I think it's very easy to sort of just give up and think that, this is it, I'm going to be, or look too far ahead, worry about stuff that hasn't happened yet. You kind of have to try and remain present as you can every day, and, embrace some days that you will feel more up and down. It's okay. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing to feel guilty about. It's just life. That is life. But it's finding that balance. It's not getting too low, and similarly, it's not getting too high when things kind of go your way.
Mr. Carberry, it has been an absolute honour and privilege to have you on. And we love that you're outspoken on things, but you speak from the heart. It's not nonsense. You're just chatting about or jumping on bandwagons. You feel strongly about these things. And listen, we love the fact that you've done so well on the cricket field against so much adversity, and you are still a much loved figure in the cricket world. People listen when you speak, and I'm sure that the future is going to be great because, like you say, good things come back at you. And I think from the way you've conducted yourself on the field, off the field, and how you are at the moment on such big, important matters. You're speaking so much sense. You're not being sensational, and you're speaking real deal stuff. So many thanks for coming on, and we've absolutely enjoyed having you. And the music as well that you brought to us tonight as well. What a fantastic!
That time we had some decent music on the show. Darren keeps picking. It's terrible.
Well, yeah, we have to play Mark Butcher every week, so
yeah.
He's still trying to plug his album.
He'll give us his new single next week. We'll be right away with that one then.
All right, mate. Listen, we'll let you get on with your evening, but thank you again so much.
No, thanks, guys.
And we'll be in touch soon. We'll stay in touch with you. See how you're getting.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Take it easy.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye.